All right, music fans, it is I, Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people, just like you, right there, and yours truly here. The question on this video, or in this video, did Bon Jovi cut the line to get to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before other bands who deserved it more? That is the question. And I will make an argument that says, yes, they did. First of all, I never realized how much of an impact a guy like Eddie Trunk has when he begins a lobbying campaign and process. He was all over this Bon Jovi getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He did, I know, one show where he went basically, soup to nuts, explaining to us how Bon Jovi had more influence than any 80s band, and he influenced everybody else, and everybody kind of followed John Bon Jovi, and I just don't buy it. I think everybody was swimming in the same tank, and those influences were bouncing off everyone. You heard it everywhere, from alternative rock to heavy metal. Big keyboards, big bold sounds. Okay, so I don't see it as an influence thing, and I've already done a video where I explain that a lot, but I do want to talk about two bands that I think really deserve to be in the Hall of Fame instead of Bon Jovi this time around. The first one is Def Leppard, okay? Def Leppard. Now, we can go back further. I can go to the late 60s, and I can pull out Steppenwolf for you, because Steppenwolf is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I think that's criminal. But if you're going to use this whole Bon Jovi thing, then I'd rather talk about Def Leppard, because number one, Def Leppard was on the scene before Bon Jovi, and that is definitely important. Number two, sound. Def Leppard has a distinctive sound that nobody else really has. Everybody wants to copy it. I know Mutt Lange, the producer, he had a lot to do with this sound. But this band has this deep, raspy but rich vocal harmony sound that I don't know of any band that's really replicated it other than a band called Loud Lion, and you can look them up, but that was just an imitation project. It wasn't an actual band that stayed around for that long. The point being is that Def Leppard, I believe, had a much more distinctive sound than Bon Jovi, and thus they really did have influence over other bands. I think Bon Jovi, if anything, had a very generic hard rock sound. I think Bon Jovi, toward the end of the decade, was trying to be Bruce Springsteen a little bit and incorporate some of that, just, I don't know, the lyrics and the arrangements and stuff. Not that he sounded musically like the boss, but he was trying to kind of be like, hey, I'm intelligent too. Hey, I can write cool lyrics too. Johnny's sitting on the dock and so forth. Living on a prayer, all that stuff. And not that that's all deep lyrical content, but I think he was trying to get out of that stereotypical big hair mode, where Def Leppard, they took all their cues from 70s glam rock. Things like Mott the Hoople, I've heard Joe Elliott talk about a bazillion times. David Bowie, T-Rex, all of that kind of stuff. And you can tell how they moved that ball down the field. They took it and they did something different with it. And to me, the fact that by the time Pyromania comes out, which is a huge album, a landmark album, Bon Jovi is nowhere to be found. All right? So that's my Def Leppard argument. There's more I could say about it. The other band, the big elephant band in the room, I believe, is a band called Foreigner, okay? With one of the greatest vocalists in rock music history by the name of Lou Gramm, and one of the better producers, arrangers, songwriters, guitar players, okay, Mick Jones. All right, Those two guys alone. Now, the band, yes, they started out with a bunch of guys. They got rid of those guys. They got new guys. Their first 4 albums should put them in the Hall of Fame. And then you add on things like I Want to Know What Love Is and Say You Will and a bunch of other tunes that came off of those albums. And even, a hit and a miss album that came out afterwards. Based on those 4 albums, the band gets their start, again, way ahead of Bon Jovi. I believe they do have a distinctive sound. I think the production itself changed, but Foreigner as a concept, as a type of melodic rock band, never gave in, never gave up on their, what they were trying to do, what Mick Jones was trying to do, even at the point of breaking the band up because Mick and Lou had some musical disagreements. But again, this band starts in 1977, and by 1980 and 81, they're up to 4 and they're selling millions of albums, okay? Iconic albums. And you can pick any Bon Jovi album you want. Slippery When Wet, okay, great album. 4 kills it, absolutely destroys it, dismantles it. Foreigner's debut, absolutely destroys it. Head Games, better album, okay? Double Vision, for my money, a better album. So those first 4 albums obliterate anything in Bon Jovi's catalog, in my opinion. Now, those 2 bands, Foreigner and Def Leppard, anybody can make that argument and win it. It's not a hard argument to make. Now, if you just think, oh, well, Bon Jovi was iconic, John had this big hair, Richie Sambora, Richie Sambora's not in the band right now. Okay, he's hopefully going to show up at the ceremony, and yes, in my opinion, there is no Bon Jovi without Richie Sambora. We could go down that road. And look, Foreigner was always Lou Gramm and Mick Jones. Those are the 2 key guys. And I know right now, technically, Foreigner doesn't have Lou Gramm in the band. But I'm not looking to nominate Foreigner from right now. I'm looking to nominate Foreigner based on those first 4 albums. And you could probably say their first 7 albums were all pretty coherent, pretty important, and all have fantastic material, much of which I believe eclipses everything that Bon Jovi has done. But, again, it's my opinion. That's why I do this. I am the Real Music Observer. I'm not sure what your thoughts are. Let me know what they are over on Facebook and Twitter. That's where I really pay attention. And I will probably get a lot of flack for this, but I'm sticking to it. All right, I'll be back again with more real music in real time if I can talk for real people just like you and just like me. And we'll be back shortly.